Hi, this is Rich from ControlX. Well, you got your system in the mail today. You got some control boards, you got a power supply, you got some connectors and wires. What do you do with them? Well, let's go to the hood and find out. Well, here's my setup. You can see it's nothing special. It's just a 100 ml round bottom flask and a Glascoll heating mantle. It's got a stir bar with a magnetic stirrer. But as you can see, normally I would do 3 separate reactions, but today I'm going to do just one for the sake of ease, just to show you how quickly this can be done with the Schotolab system. The first thing you need to do, put the power supply in the hood. After that, put the control boards on top of the power supply. This is normally where I keep them. After that, grab the red wire with the 2 red connectors and plug it into the power supply. The banana pin goes into the large connector on the top right corner, and the mini pin goes into the small red terminal on the bottom right. The next thing to do is grab the terminal block with the wires connected to it and plug this into the control board. Again, there's only one way to plug it in, just plug it in. Now the important thing to remember is this is for you to configure as you need it. For example, if you're going to use a lot of corrosive materials, you might want to keep this out of the hood. All you would need to do is add longer wires. Once the terminal block is plugged in, plug the black banana pin connector into the large terminal on the left, and then plug in the 3 other connectors under the outlet. On the control board, they're black, green, red, and yellow. So put the green one under the first terminal, the yellow one under the second terminal, and the red one under the third terminal. And this is what it looks like when it's all together. And I normally keep this in my fume hood as you see it. With this, I can control 3 separate 120 volt devices, which in my case are normally heating mantles. Now we need to add, and it's just as easy as this. Insert the 2 wires for a type K. The yellow is the positive, so put that in the positive, and the red is the negative. Now this second one I'm going to put in backwards just to show you what happens. I'm going to put the red wire in the positive and the yellow in the negative. And once that one's in, let's do the last one. Again, just insert the wires. Screw it down, and then you're done. And then plug this into the control boards. And when you're done, this is what it looks like. Next, you have to position your thermocouples in the setup. The first thermocouple is going to be ambient. It's just going to be laying by the boards. The next one is going to be between the heating mantle and the flask. And the other one's going to go in the thermal well in the liquid. Then plug in your heating mantle. Now I'm going to plug the heating mantle into the middle outlet. And don't forget to plug in the power supply. And again, here's the system when it's all set up. Everything's plugged in. Now let's go to the software. When you open the software, this is what it looks like. On the bottom right corner, you can see the control boards. We have a control board and an XP board. And on the information page, you can enter general information. I'm going to type in an experiment name. You can type in the purpose of the experiment. You can put a little description of the setup. I'm going to just type in 100 ml round bottom flask with 3 thermocouples. After that, click the Channel Setup tab. Go to the Standard Analog Inputs, and this is where you can enter any voltage type sensor you're going to use. As you saw, we have 3 thermocouples, and I'm going to name them. The ambient temp, the mantle temp, and the liquid temp. Then you have to tell the system what type of signal is going to be going in. Now there's a variety of options here. The DF means they're differential ended. That means we're putting a positive and negative wire into the block. The other option is SE, single-ended. And you can watch our other videos that describe how this works. But we have a type K thermocouple in. You have a variety of different types. So we're going to just enter type K. And we need to do this for each channel. Again, just click on the window, type K, and you can see all the defaults are set. And then all you need to do is click on the red button to activate the channel. And you can see the temperatures appear. The next thing we need to do is to select the type of controllers we want to use. And to do that, click on the Control Output tab, and you get this screen that pops up. You can control 7 different outlets. Remember, we plugged ours into the second one. So I'm going to enter a name in the second one, heat. Now we have to decide what type of controller we're going to use. We have 5 different types of controllers that function completely independently. We're going to use a percent controller, which is just like a Variac, where you can turn it from 0 to 100%. Hit OK because everything defaults to the normal values you want. I like to see the indicator light on the display page, so I'm going to check this button. Again, you have to turn the channel on so the program knows you're going to be using this. Go back to the information page. Now we're going to save this setup so we can use it in the future. Just type a name in, click OK, and now go to the display page. Now the first thing I like to do is check and make sure all of my temperatures are working correctly and they're in the correct place. I'm going to grab the ambient thermocouple with my fingers, and you see the temperature goes up, so it's working. Now remember, I put the second thermocouple in backwards. Look what happens when I grab it. You see it goes down, so obviously it's backwards. I'm going to change this real quick so we go on. Now you can see what happens when I take a thermocouple out and put it back in. It gets rather noisy. I'm going to right click on this screen and clear this, and now we're ready to run. But first I want to save this data so I can look at the information after the fact. You can see the temperatures are all stable. Let me enter a temperature here. Let me enter a value of 50 for heat. You can see the set point is registered on the screen. It went up to 50. And you can see this is the heat. And you can see the heat light is on as well, indicating that the heating mantle is running. And this is going to be flashing 50% at a time to show you it's at 50%. And now if you watch, you see the red line, it's going up, so the reaction is running. This is why I always put a thermocouple between the heating mantle and the flask, because then I know it's working immediately. Now remember, all of this data that you see is being saved and recorded by the Shoto Labs system. You can look at all of these values after the fact to see how things work.